After 5 years of marriage, Ethan and I still struggled to conceive. We spent 3 years undergoing IVF treatments, finally welcoming twins in our 8th year together. But during my 4th month of pregnancy, I overheard Ethan talking to his friend. "You have low sperm motility." Lucy spent 3 years enduring 7 or 8 rounds of IVF treatments. She aged a decade before your eyes. Yet you secretly transferred most marital assets to that Mistress Jacey's shell company. Isn't that too cruel? Ethan shrugged nonchalantly. If I didn't feel guilty about making young women suffer through IVF, I would have divorced her last year. Have you seen her body lately? The weight gain, pregnancy spots, swollen nose. She's become repulsive. Clutching my ultrasound report, I walked straight to schedule an abortion. After my 4D scan, I kept staring at the grainy images of 2 tiny beings curled like pea pods, their miniature profiles filling me with bittersweet tenderness. Ethan had been busy at work for 2 days. I bought his favorite sea salt caramel cake and coffee, rushing to share the ultrasound photos. The receptionist greeted me warmly. "Ms. Foster." "Mr. Miller's in his office with Ryan. They're discussing business matters." Ryan, our college friend turned business partner, often visited with his wife Me.I, my closest confidant. My hand froze on the partially open office door when I heard my name. "You're playing with fire here," Ryan warned. "If Lucy finds out about this." Ethan's mocking laughter cut through the door. "Spare me the moralizing. At least I'm not pretending to be some devoted husband like you with Me.I. Lucy went through hell to get pregnant," Ryan persisted. 7 IVF cycles in 3 years. "And you're funneling assets to Jacey's shell company? There's got to be limits." "Sentimentality's for fools," Ethan retorted. "If not for my fertility issues, I'd have divorced her ages ago. Don't worry, I'll give her a generous settlement after she delivers. More than enough for her golden years." Ryan's voice turned urgent. "This isn't some casual fling. Jacey's clearly after your money. You and Lucy built everything together since college. You can't possibly feel nothing." "Of course I feel something," Ethan sneered. "Like how you'd miss an old dog. But have you seen her naked recently? The stretch marks, the blotchy skin. It's embarrassing being seen with her. If I'm paying for companionship, why not choose someone like Jacey who actually looks the part?" The ultrasound photos slipped from my trembling hands. The office carpet blurred as their voices warped into incomprehensible noise. Memories collided with reality. The Ethan who proposed under a college oak tree with Shakespearean sonnets, whose love letters once filled my dorm mailbox, now casually dissecting my body's betrayals. I remembered him holding my hair during morning sickness, whispering my warrior queen after each failed IVF. The man who tenderly traced my stretch marks, saying they mapped our journey. Now those same marks became criminal evidence in my trial of undesirability. The receptionist's concerned face appeared. "Ms. Foster? Let me get you some water," but I was already halfway to the elevators, each step cracking the foundation of our 8-year illusion. He pursued me for 2 years before we finally got together. But in reality, after we became a couple, I ended up being the one who gave more. I remembered Ethan's peanut allergy, his dislike of cilantro, his preference for 6-degree warm water, and his fondness for salted caramel cakes. Yet he kept forgetting my mango allergy. Over time, our relationship gradually smoothed out. I thought I'd finally cracked the code to understand the sensitivity and sundry traits hidden beneath his childish exterior, naively believing I'd discovered the secret to our harmony. But looking back, there was no secret, only my daily compromises and normalized heartaches. My fingers brushed over the pronounced curve of my belly. For some reason, I chuckled softly. To conceive, I'd paused my career, quit coffee and boba tea, avoided raw seafood, and adhered to strict regimens. Ethan's high sperm DNA fragmentation rate kept our embryo quality subpar. Over 3.5 years, I endured 8 IVF transfers. I lost count of hormone pills swallowed, only aware of how medications bloated my body beyond recognition. Mood swings teetered near breakdowns. I bore the agony of repeated egg retrievals. Cycled through hope and despair, only for it all to become cosmic mockery. Time froze. Those few minutes stretched into eons. When I finally moved, coppery blood filled my mouth from bitten lips. I inhaled sharply, willed composure, then hailed a cab to the hospital. The OB/GYN studied my charts, reiterating, the twins are 20 weeks along and developing perfectly. Are you absolutely certain about terminating? Tears welled as I nodded. She interlaced her fingers solemnly. MS. Foster. Medically, I must warn you, second trimester termination carries significant risks. Especially with twins. We'll induce contractions first. Then proceed surgically once dilation occurs. Potential complications include infection, hemorrhaging, even uterine rupture. Perhaps, discuss this with the father? I lowered my gaze, swallowing bitter irony. The father's dead. Please schedule the procedure. Ethan stumbled into our bedroom past midnight reeking of bourbon. His furnace-hot arms clamped around me as he nuzzled my neck, slurring another woman's name. I shoved him away in disgust. He grunted, rolled over, and began snoring. Sleepless. I sat up agitated. His phone glowed on the nightstand. After hesitation, I pressed his thumb to unlock it. Social media showed pristine chat histories, recent contacts scrubbed clean. By some inexplicable twist of fate, my finger tapped open the blocked list. There was only one account under the alias Jacey. When I enlarged the profile picture, a lightning bolt of recognition tore through my memory. I knew this girl. 2 years ago at a charity gala in the city. She'd been working as an event staff member, carrying champagne flutes. She'd collided with an important guest, drenching his suit. The man, Zhou Yanli, China CEO of LCM Group, who was about to deliver a keynote speech, snarled under his breath. What kind of incompetent clown are they hiring? Didn't the organizers train you idiots on basic protocol? The entire ballroom froze as the trembling girl shrank under the spotlight. I rushed to my car and retrieved the custom-tailored suit I'd bought for Ethan Miller's birthday. Miraculously, it fit Joe perfectly. After accepting his grateful handshake, I seized the moment. Mr. Joe, it's an honor to finally meet the man behind the legend. While discussing investment opportunities, my peripheral vision caught Ethan comforting the tearful staffer by the dessert table. So this was Jacey Turner. Their chat history showed deleted messages, but recent days' exchanges remained. Scrolling upward with shaking hands, I found daily conversations brimming with shared meals, work anecdotes, and midnight sexting. When had Ethan last texted me anything beyond perfunctory checkups about my pregnancy? The latest messages burned my retinas. 3:14 p.m., Jacey, the lingerie just arrived. Wanna see me model it tonight? 3:16 p.m., Ethan, can't. Need to go home. She'll get suspicious. 3:17 p.m., Jacey, what's waiting there? That bloated whale? You actually want to watch 170 pounds of stretch marks squeeze into crotchless panties? 3:19 p.m., Ethan, who taught you to be this filthy? I love it. 3:20 p.m., Jacey, then come kiss me, sends kitten emoji licking paw. 3:21 p.m., Ethan, not tonight. Big client dinner at 7. Tomorrow. She responded with 2 obscene mirror selfies. Nipples peeking through lace. His final message, fuck. You'll beg me to stop. Nausea scorched my throat. I methodically screenshotted every transaction, $8,000 for a Birkin bag. $25,000 labeled apartment deposit. $120,000 marked investment. The first transfer dated back 18 months. After emailing myself the evidence, I replaced his phone under the pillow and retrieved a water bottle. All night I sat on the balcony, watching skeletal tree branches claw at the moonlit sky like vengeful spirits. The wind's howling laughter echoed in my hollow chest. The sky was just beginning to lighten when I finally made up my mind. With trembling hands, I swallowed the mifepristone prescribed by my doctor, gulping down a mouthful of water. Lucy, wake up. Why are you curled up on the couch? Get up now, this isn't good for the babies. The deep voice pulled me from my groggy sleep. Blinking hard, my vision swam for several moments before clearing enough to recognize Ethan crouching before me. I studied him silently. Though his features now held gentle concern, I could detect fleeting disgust beneath his tender expression. When I didn't respond, he cradled my stomach with exaggerated care. Are the twins keeping you up again? You're carrying so much. Sweetheart, his hands guided me upright. Auntie made yam and millet porridge. Eat breakfast first. Then you can nap. He handed me a pre-pasted toothbrush and a glass of water. As I brushed my teeth, his phone lit up on the bathroom counter. The caller ID flashed Jacey. He scowled at the screen. This client's relentless, calling at dawn? Yet he grabbed the phone, disappearing onto the balcony. Fragments of conversation drifted through the glass. Your mom, car accident? I'll drive you, don't cry, of course she matters. My future mother-in-law. The toothbrush moved mechanically in my mouth. Memories surfaced from last summer, my father's liver resection after biliary stones. 2 critical condition notices. I'd staggered home after my 5th failed IVF attempt, spending weeks alternating shifts with mom at the hospital. Ethan's support had been limited to perfunctory phone check-ins. Before I could fully resurface from the memory, Ethan reappeared with a suitcase. Emergency business trip. Babe. Call Sophia or my mom if you need anything. He rushed out before I could reply. After he left, I visited a law firm to retain a divorce attorney. Returning home, I found my mother-in-law and sister-in-law watching TV in the living room. You should be resting. My mother-in-law snapped, gesturing toward the kitchen. I brought herbal black chicken soup from that renowned Chinese herbalist in Harbor City. Drink it all, excellent for the babies. Sophia bounded over in slippers, eyes sparkling. Ethan said you had the 4-dimensional ultrasound yesterday. Let me see the photos. I wordlessly handed her the prenatal file. Inside were only routine checkups and ultrasound prints. The termination paperwork remained hidden in my car. The women gasped dramatically over the images. Look at that nose. Just like Ethan's. Oh. This one's smiling, so precious. The congealed soup glistened with oily swirls. After a long stare, I dumped the entire pot into the garbage disposal. Since the pregnancy, my mother-in-law had force-fed me endless nutritious concoctions despite my constant nausea. You're eating for 2 now. And all of this is essential for the baby's development. The worse your morning sickness gets, the more nutrients you need. What if the baby has growth problems? My weight had ballooned from barely 100 pounds before IVF treatments to 150 pounds now. Part of it was hormonal medications, but most came from the excessive postpartum nourishment I'd been force-fed. I wanted to refuse. Yet after every prenatal checkup, seeing those perfect fetal development indicators on the report, I'd cave again. After 3 torturous years of fertility treatments, I knew better than anyone how precious these twins were. Even when morning sickness made me retch, I'd choke down those tonics. I never wanted to relive the agony of egg retrieval surgeries. So I told myself the weight gain didn't matter. I'd lose it after breastfeeding anyway. Now, none of that mattered anymore. 10 minutes later, my mother-in-law finally looked up from the ultrasound images. She inspected the empty soup pot in the kitchen and nodded approvingly. That's more like it. Don't you dare follow those internet hussies worrying about their figures during pregnancy. You're carrying the Miller family's golden heir, 3 generations of single-line inheritance. Count yourself lucky I'm reasonable. Any other mother-in-law would have kicked out a barren wife after 8 childless years. I smirked bitterly at her well-rehearsed script. There was a time when Mrs. Miller treated me kindly, back when my parents funded Ethan's startup. But as the company prospered, her attitude shifted inexplicably. I used to tolerate her unreasonable demands, chalking it up to her being a difficult widow. Now I stared at this imperious woman and snapped. Your precious son ran off with another woman weeks ago. Still clinging to the Miller legacy? Planning to squeeze into the family mausoleum when you die? Her face purpled with rage. You ungrateful bitch. I thrust my prominent belly forward as she raised her hand. Go ahead. For every hit you land, I'll punch my stomach twice. Let's see who breaks first. Her arm froze midair. Let me remind you again, our fertility issues stem from your son's low sperm motility. You should kneel and thank modern medicine. 30 years ago, the Miller bloodline would have died with him. The door slammed behind me as I left her trembling in the kitchen. She always claimed I'd won the lottery marrying Ethan, becoming a wealthy wife overnight. But we built that company together. Beyond family investments, we took joint loans and begged relatives for startup funds. Our event planning firm specialized in exhibition services, booth design, construction, operations. Then the pandemic hit in our third year. Every contracted exhibition canceled. We'd already invested heavily in venue leases and custom materials. Over 60% financed through loans. We sold our wedding home, cars, even my jewelry to survive. 2 years later, at a charity gala, I accidentally networked with Joe Yanli, LCM Group's China CEO. After months of negotiations, we landed LCM's annual exhibition contract. That deal saved our bankrupt company and laid the foundation for everything after. I was never some clinging ivy around Ethan Miller. Yet these past years, I'd been blinded by proximity, the danger of being too close to the flame. The obsession with getting pregnant had become almost pathological. Each failed IVF attempt only deepened my conviction that this was an absolute necessity. An imperative I had to fulfill. Yet I remained blind to how this irrational fixation had consumed my very identity. 3 days after Ethan left on a business trip, I checked into the hospital alone. When Mia pushed open my hospital room door, the anesthesia from my procedure was just wearing off. I lay ghostly pale against the sterile sheets, an oxytocin drip snaking into my arm. Mia stood frozen in the doorway for what felt like eternity before her composure shattered. Lucy. Her voice broke as tears spilled over. Have you lost your mind? You endured 3 years of fertility treatments to finally conceive. 3 years of turning yourself into this shell of a person. Her words dissolved into sobs as she rushed to embrace me. I kept my eyes closed, warm tears tracing silent paths to my pillow. My throat constricted as if packed with cotton, refusing to release any sound. Those 2 little lives had grown inside me for 5 months. Vessels of every hope and ounce of love I could muster. This choice carved through me like a physical wound. Yet, I couldn't bear the thought of being eternally bound to Ethan. Call me cruel. Label me heartless. But the prospect of decades entangled with him through shared children made this agony preferable. Lucy. Mia pressed a warm water bottle into my trembling hands. There's something you're not telling me. My explanation came stripped bare. Ethan's been seeing someone. His plan was to take the children after delivery and marry her. To him, I was just an incubator. Mia's lips parted in stunned silence before she finally whispered. This whole time, I couldn't understand how you could, but now. Our shared silence hung heavy until Mia sighed, bitterness lacing her words. They say women are fickle, but those vows they swore felt so real. How does that devotion vanish in mere years? I studied the shadows beneath her eyes. Are things tense with Ryan? Her hollow laugh held no humor. Not tension. Exactly. More like, I'm realizing I never truly knew him. His recent actions. Her voice trailed off before she shook herself. Enough about that. Let me stay with you this week. I declined. You've got your own life. The nurses here are competent. Besides, I added, We shouldn't give Ethan reasons to target you and Ryan. Ryan had built his event planning business largely through Ethan's connections, hotel bookings, catering contracts, transportation logistics. His success story was hard-won, raised by a single mother who scavenged recyclables. He'd fought for every opportunity. Mia had defied her family to marry him. Their approval only grudgingly granted in recent years. Though Ryan knew of Ethan's infidelity, this betrayal was mine alone to handle. Mia defied my protests anyway, arriving daily with steaming broth and forced cheerfulness. The shadows beneath her eyes deepened. She startled at ordinary noises, her smiles never reaching her eyes. My questions met only tight-lipped denials. On discharge day, Mia called about a delay. "Wait for me," she insisted. "I'll handle the paperwork later." But recovery had progressed well, only residual abdominal twinges remained. Deciding to expedite the process, I collected my medications and headed toward the administration desk. The hospital lobby's usual murmur suddenly crescendoed into chaos. Amidst the noise came the sound of a woman's agonized moans. I followed the sound and saw Ethan carrying a girl in his arms as he rushed toward the ER. The girl's face was deathly pale, her white dress stained with blood. My legs moved before my brain could process. I trailed after them. Inside the ER, a doctor's reprimand cut through the air. "You kids have no sense of boundaries." A ruptured ovarian cyst causing internal hemorrhage? Another hour and she could have died. "We need laparoscopic surgery immediately. Get the paperwork done now." Ethan took the forms with trembling hands, freezing mid-turn. "Lucy?" A kaleidoscope of emotions flashed across his face: panic, shock, guilt, before settling into twisted rage. "You're following me?" he roared, veins bulging. "You're actually fucking stalking me now, Lucy?" He seized my wrist and slammed me against the wall. My back hit concrete, pain stealing my breath. "Talk." His eyes burned with fury. "How did you track me here?" The ER doors swung open. A nurse glared at us. "Take your domestic drama elsewhere." "Sir?" Her tone sharpened at Ethan. "Your girlfriend's hemorrhaging on the table and you're here shouting? Move it!" The words seemed to electrocute him. His grip slackened as shame flooded his features. I didn't. Go home. We'll talk tonight." He fled without glancing back. He never noticed my flattened abdomen. He didn't come that night. For 7 days. Radio silence. Perhaps he needed time to craft better lies. The court summons finally sparked his callback. "You moved out?" Disbelief colored his voice. "The day your girlfriend's cyst burst." "Don't you fucking moralize at me." He exploded. "Why am I getting served papers?" It spelled out clearly, "I'm filing for divorce." A bitter laugh crackled through the line. "Fine. Wait a year. Nurse the twins for 6 months and I'll give you $2 million. Impossible. Your family's lucky to get 10 times their initial investment. You want more? Go rob a bank." "I meant keeping your children is impossible." His voice turned venomous. "Playing the baby card? $1 million per kid, take it or leave it." Soft laughter escaped me. "The impossibility is, there are no babies to bargain with." Silence. "I terminated the pregnancy. A week ago." Dead air stretched until his strangled whisper came. "You, what?" "No. I don't believe you. You went through 8 rounds of fertility treatments. Swallowed all those hormones that made you gain weight. Ruined your looks. How could you abort after sacrificing so much for our children? You're lying." His words tumbled faster, as if trying to convince himself. I cut through his hysteria with icy calm. "Did it ever occur to you why we coincidentally met at the hospital that day? I just had the procedure. Check the medical records if you still doubt me." Ethan completely snapped. His screams distorted through the phone. "Those were my children. You had no right. I'll call the police. I'll charge you with murder. You'll pay for this. Be my guest. But as a friendly reminder, Section 51 of the Women's Rights Protection Act explicitly states reproductive autonomy, no spousal consent required for termination. Murder charges? Get real, asshole. I ended the call. When Ethan started stalking my apartment complex, I yanked out my SIM card and fled to my parents' hometown. They wept when I told them about the divorce and procedure, but ultimately stood by me. 1 week before court, my lawyer scheduled final evidence review. Returning home, I'd just parked when Mia's text blinked on my burner phone at Royal Elite Club. No context. No punctuation. Like a misdirected message. The Platinum Tier members only club, where Ethan and I once schmoozed clients, required keycard access and retinal scans. My calls to Mia went straight to voicemail. Ryan hung up when pressed about her whereabouts. Every instinct screamed danger. Security blocked the gilded entrance until a delivery rider approached, order for Mr. Chin in 2106. As he left, I overheard his call, "Babe. Some rich dude paid $500 for lube and Viagra, bought women's stuff too." Cold dread pooled in my stomach. Dialing 911. I lied through adrenaline-clenched teeth. My friend Mia's being held in room 2106 at Royal Elite Club. Sexual assault in progress. Police cruisers arrived within minutes. The scene in 2106 haunts me still, Mia's naked body modeled with whip marks and candle wax. Wrists bound behind her like some discarded doll. I shook so violently I nearly dropped the bathrobe wrapping her. Paramedics took Mia while officers cuffed the trembling man, his bloated face erupting in bloody furrows when I lunged at him with clawed nails. Instantly, deep bloody scratches appeared on his greasy face. I kept clawing desperately, even biting down hard with my teeth. I wanted to brand his face, to make everyone around him see what kind of monster this wolf in sheep's clothing truly was. He screamed like a slaughtered pig, clutching his face while weakly kicking at me with his feet until the captain cleared his throat. A young officer swiftly pulled me away, sternly warning, "No physical altercations. Next time we'll have to charge both parties." When officers hauled up the bloodied man, the carpet where he'd collapsed reeked of pungent yellow liquid. That fucking old beast had pissed himself in terror. As I followed the stretcher downstairs, I spotted Ryan hiding behind the shrubs near the club entrance. The moment Mia was carried out, he lunged forward hysterically shouting, "Mia! Mia!" though Mia never opened her eyes. Continuous tears streamed down her temples. Watching the ambulance drive away, I turned to see Ryan kneeling on the pavement, clutching his head. During the chaotic weeks following Mia's assault, I shuttled daily between hospitals, police stations, and law firms. When the divorce trial date arrived, I hired 2 security guards as precaution. In the courthouse lobby, Mrs. Miller nearly fainted upon seeing my flat stomach. Sophia tearfully demanded, "Why? What did our family ever do to deserve this?" But when my attorney presented evidence of Ethan's affairs and massive hidden assets, Sophia froze in shock. She'd likely believed her brother and I were the perfect couple. Mrs. Miller erupted through tears. "You killed my 2 golden grandsons over this? So what if a successful man plays around? He didn't divorce you. That money would have gone to you and the children eventually." I calmly countered, "Then why did you divorce your own husband after his affairs? If it's just playing around, why didn't you stay?" The old woman fell silent. Thanks to my legal team's strategy and Ethan's multi-million-dollar financial fraud, the court granted immediate divorce, while recovering most embezzled assets. I ignored petty sums. As the wronged party, I received majority marital assets plus 30% company shares. Exercising shareholder rights, I vetoed every proposal Ethan made. When deadlocked operations forced his $50 million buyout of my shares, I launched a competing firm. Within 6 months, we secured prime office space and a full team. I crossed paths with Joe Yanley at a business gala while he transitioned from LCM Group to become CEO of a tech firm. Ironically, Someone's musk-based perfume triggered his allergic asthma attack. This time, I simply called his driver to deliver the inhaler. When he thanked me, I handed over my new business card. 2 years later, as Mia gradually recovered, I opened a flower shop for her with 2 employees. The assault left her with severe PTSD and depression requiring ongoing therapy. Our legal team ensured her attacker received 7 years prison time. His reputation destroyed. His son got fired for incompetence. And his wife's spa closed after illegal medical practices incurred massive fines plus a year's sentence. Ryan's attorney claimed he'd left work early that day unaware of the impending attack. With insufficient evidence, Ryan only got 15 days detention but voluntarily surrendered all assets during their divorce. My company continues thriving as we expand operations. Meanwhile, Ethan's company faced a major crisis. Part of this stemmed from LCM's new management transferring exhibition contracts to connected parties after Zhou departure, causing Ethan to lose crucial orders. While the financial hit wasn't fatal, Ryan's masterstroke proved devastating. After divorcing Mia, Ryan underwent a drastic personality shift, becoming ruthlessly ambitious. As Ethan's business development manager handling key accounts, Ryan arranged a client dinner with multiple escorts during critical negotiations. On their return, 2 intoxicated executives got handsy with the women. The distracted driver crashed into an oncoming truck, killing 3 instantly and 2 later at the hospital. The national scandal ensnared Ryan as the event organizer. Though legally avoiding criminal charges, he received administrative detention and fines. The victims' families and corporations refused to settle, dragging out lawsuits for years. Ethan's company landed on multiple blacklists, its reputation in tatters. Operations nosedived into unsustainable losses. Months later, Mia texted me, "Ryan's dead." Mobsters connected to the deceased escorts had demanded $20 million, $10 million per life. Bankrupt from the divorce, Ryan couldn't pay. After days of torture in an abandoned construction site, they released him. He slit his wrists a week later in his apartment. Against my advice, Mia insisted on attending the funeral. She stood stone-faced through the service until spitting on his gravestone. May you relive those final days endlessly in hell. Ryan. Know who sent those mobsters. She leaned closer, smirking. Now you never will. Descending the hill, mountain breeze tousling her hair, Mia finally smiled with relief, her personal demon exorcised. In the parking lot, Ethan leaned against my car, kicking weeds between pavement cracks. "Lucy, can we talk?" "No time. I've moved on from past events. Didn't pursue the abortion. You took most assets. Why the hatred?" I nearly laughed. "Should I thank you?" "Spit it out. Can't I check how you've been?" "Terrible. Need 50 million interest free." "Feeling generous?" He froze awkwardly. As I turned to leave, he blurted, "Heard you're in exhibition services. Overflow contracts? 60-40 split your way." I've seen shamelessness, but this redefined brazen. Can't handle the workload? I'll just hire more people. Ridiculous. He forced a bitter smile. I can barely secure new orders now. So many advance payments haven't been recovered. My financial chain is about to snap. If cash flow's broken, sell the mansion, luxury cars, jewelry, or investments. Liquidate a few assets to stay afloat. Hadn't I walked this exact path with him years ago? Done with the conversation, I yanked the car door open. "If you want to discuss business, draft a proposal first. Schedule an appointment through our company receptionist." The door slammed shut behind me. During a routine checkup, doctors discovered an 8-centimeter chocolate cyst while buying medical supplies at the convenience store near the hospital. I stumbled upon Ethan and Jacey. Ethan looked ghostly pale, aged a decade overnight. Jacey stood trembling, nervously picking at her fingernails. I turned to avoid them. But Ethan's furious roar froze me. Why would you do this? Wasn't I good to you? I divorced for you. Lost both my children. Even when my company was drowning. I bought you that $300,000 sports car without hesitation. And you fucking cheated on me in it? The slap echoed before I saw his hand move. Jacey clutched her cheek. Silent tears streaming. Sophia rushed over supporting Mrs. Miller. The test results, is that bastard carrying our family's heir? Ethan numbly handed Sophia the medical report. Mrs. Miller exploded. Clawing at Jacey's hair, we treated you like royalty. How dare you whore around behind my son's back? Jacey waited until the tirade ended before sneering, your saintly son? The married man who seduced me? Why shouldn't I play the same game? Doctors warned Ethan's sperm fragmentation rate was too high, less than 0.5% viability. Yet you forced me through IVF hell. Since you're so desperate for a grandchild, my affair baby still shares half my blood. Better than some random foster kid. No? Mrs. Miller gaped speechless. Ethan suddenly slapped himself twice. Staggering backward. I deserve this, karmic justice. He choked out. Spotting me. He covered his face with a broken sob. I never followed their aftermath, that train wreck they'd chosen over everything. Lies. Betrayal. Schemes reduced to debris. Months later at a business dinner, a collaborator mentioned Ethan's company, wage defaults. Insurmountable debts. Now in bankruptcy liquidation. I paused. Then the conversation moved on. Crystal clinks refilled the silence as a server poured more Bordeaux. To prosperous partnerships. Glasses rose. I smiled. Clinking mine. The crystalline chimes seemed to shatter lingering ghosts. Leaning back in the limo later. A radio host's soothing voice floated through, no fairy tale endings, only cause and effect. Some burn fiercely to ashes, others endure chrysalis seasons. Time doesn't judge, it grinds all to dust. Love and hatred are but attachments, meetings and partings are all part of life's journey. In universal suffering, we become our own salvation.